Mr. Speaker, on 24th of this month, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kesil Atoforsen, was in this House on the authority of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to present the mid-year review of the 2025 budget in line with Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, as has been the practice in this House, and in accordance with our standing orders, members have taken turns to express their opinions on the statement presented by my boss. Mr. Speaker, today I count myself the luckiest Deputy Minister in President Mahama's administration because Ato is the best minister any deputy can wish for. It seldom happens that a Minister for Finance will yield such an important podium to his deputy. Dr. Atoforsen, God bless you. Mr. Speaker, may I take this opportunity to thank honorable members for an engaging debate, some made in good faith and others with obvious mischief and misrepresentations. Since our colleagues on the other side were not present to listen to the Minister for Finance at first hand, we may forgive them for the misrepresentation since they may be speaking based on hearsay. However, Mr. Speaker, kindly permit me to correct some of the misrepresentations made by some colleague members. The Honorable Abna Osei Asari stated, and I quote, "If the cedi has appreciated against the US dollar, external interest payments should come down. It has rather increased by 1 billion cedis." Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this assertion is totally incorrect. In fact, Appendix 2C of the mid-year statement indicated under external interest payment that out of the 3.97 billion In fact, Appendix 2C of the mid-year statement indicated under external interest payment that out of the 3.97 billion cedis that was programmed to be paid within the first half of the year, 3.7 billion was actually paid, resulting in a savings
Honorable
of
Deputy
179.
Honorable Deputy Minister, hold it. Yes, Minority Leader. You two come and move.
Mr. Speaker, I want the Majority Leader to lend support to this. He is a lawyer. I take him by his word. It shouldn't be that somebody is being set up for embarrassment. The man has a prepared speech. I have no problem if we've not closed the debate. We've closed the debate. The application was that you were going to thank us. Colleagues, let's not do this to ourselves. Then when there's a reaction, it's as if somebody is being unreasonable. No, you cannot. Your leader has spoken for 45 minutes. If you had rebuttals, your duty was to give it to him to rebut. You cannot seize this opportunity to say that you are coming to re-argue. No, let's not go there. No, let's not go there. Mr. Speaker, that was not the understanding. That was not the understanding. That was not the understanding. No, no. Mr. Speaker, no, 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 no. That was not the understanding. You said he is thanking and taking the concerns on board. Please, don't use, you have about 4 pages. You are now going to re-argue again. No, Mr. Speaker, it's not fair. That was not the understanding. If you are thanking us as courtesy demand, do so. And Majority Leader, please intervene and get this resolved so that we don't
Minority Leader,
get matters degenerating.
You have made your point. Oh. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you know, historically, any time that we have finished debating, the finance minister concludes, he thanks us, but this is a house of record. This is a house of record. So if the finance minister, hearing the debates, thinks that there is a factual inaccuracy, and he uses an opportunity to thank us, to correct it, there's nothing wrong with that. Because I heard him say that there were some claims made during the debate, and he's now going to correct it. So for the records, he wants to place things in proper perspective. This is the amount that was given, this is the amount that was paid, and this is the amount that was saved. I thought that was what I heard him saying. So he's just correcting some records. Otherwise, in our debate, we would have misinformed the public. If he begins to say something that is contentious, you can raise an objection. But if he's just correcting the records, I think that we should allow him to correct the records.
Honourable members.
Because he's the one keeping the records.
Honourable members, we've all been in this house for some time. When debates are concluded by the leaders, opportunity is given to the minister who presents the budget to comment. We don't give condition based on which the minister is supposed to make the concluding comment. Honourable members, there are senior members in this house. They know the practice. The minister is not here. The deputy minister is stepping into the shoes of the minister. So we cannot prevent the minister from making concluding comments. He brought the budget that has been debated. So at the end of the debate, it is fair when we take comments from the minister. Honourable Deputy Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I got to the point where I was reacting to a statement made by my good friend, Honorable Abna Osei-Asare. And I quote, "If the cedi has appreciated against the US dollar, external interest payments should come down. It has rather increased by 1 billion Ghana cedis," unquote. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this assertion is totally incorrect. In fact, Appendix 2C of the mid-year budget statement indicated under external interest payments that out of the 3.97 billion Ghana cedis that was programmed to be paid within the first half of the year, 3.7 billion was actually paid, resulting in a savings of 179 million Ghana cedis as a result of the cedi appreciation. This savings can build about 206 unit classroom blocks across the country, including Etiwa. Paragraph 248 of the mid-year statement stated clearly that external interest payments have been revised upward by 795 million cedis and not 1 billion to make provision for additional debt service due on post-cut-off date disbursements on bilateral loans that the previous administration made in 2023. Honorable Abna Osei-Asare again said, there has been no real impact beyond the numbers in the mid-year review. Ghanaians don't live in the mid-year, they live in the economy. The mid-year was full of technical jargons, unquote. Mr. Speaker, if there has been any budget presentation that has been made simple for the ordinary Ghanaian to understand, it is the one presented by Dr. Kesil Atoforsen. Honorable Abna, do you really believe that the improvement in the economy in the past 6 months has had no impact on the lives of Ghanaians? Let me remind my colleagues that within these 6 months, importers will testify that import duties have drastically reduced. The real income of households, which was eroded by an inflation of 23.8%, have seen a significant improvement with a reduction of inflation to 13.7%. Assembly members in Etiwa East are 1,300 Ghana cedis richer every month. All LEAP beneficiaries are receiving more than they used to, and promptly. And price of petrol has reduced from an average of 14 cedis 72 pesos per litre to 12 cedis 23 pesos per litre. Mr. Speaker, these and many more are the real occurrences in the economy that Ghanaian people can feel. And Mr. Speaker, one of the renowned pollsters in Ghana today, the Global Info Analytics, have been conducting periodic surveys. And they did one on standard of living. And Mr. Speaker, last year, 2024, around July 2024, their survey indicated that standard of living, 47% of Ghanaians said that their standard of living had worsened. Mr. Speaker, fast forward, this year, the same question was posed. In July 2025, guess what? Only 12% of Ghanaians said that their standard of living had worsened. 59% of Ghanaians say that their standard of living has improved. But Mr. Speaker, the same time last year, only 21% of Ghanaians believe that their standard of living has improved. And Mr. Speaker, the story is even more interesting. When you recall standard of living improvement optimism, 1 year ago, their research revealed that when Global Info Analytics, they revealed that 20% of respondents said that there was no improvement in their standard of living. But Mr. Speaker, the interesting part is that today, 72% of Ghanaians say that they are highly optimistic that their standard of living will improve, against 20% who thought that their standard of living will improve. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam, the immediate past finance minister, suggested that Dr. Atto-Forson cannot take credit for the reduction in the debt to GDP ratio because he, Amin Adam, negotiated the cancellation of over $5 billion of Ghana's debt. Mr. Speaker, I want to state emphatically that the reduction in Ghana's public debt from 726.7 billion cedis in December 2024 to 613 billion cedis as at the end of June 2025 has nothing to do with any purported debt cancellation. Ghana has not benefited from any debt cancellation in the past 6 months, the 6 months period that we are reviewing. The over 113 billion Ghana cedis reduction is as a result of the cedi's appreciation against the US dollar, something that seemed impossible under their tenure. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Gideon Boako, an advisor to the former Vice President, provided some wrong debt figures in his submission to suggest that the negative 15.6% debt accumulation is not novel. He misled this House by stating that the November 2022 public debt stock was 382.7 billion. Mr. Speaker, for the record, the Bank of Ghana's Summary of Economic and Financial Data published in May 2023, and it was published by Governor Addison, shows that the debt stock as at November 2022 was 575.7 billion and not the 382.7 billion quoted by the Honorable Member. The Minister for Finance stated, and I want to reiterate, that the negative debt accumulation recorded within the first half of this year has never happened in the history of our dear nation. Mr. Speaker, unlike his immediate predecessors, the Minister for Finance did not blame the performance of the economy on any external factor in the entire 1.5 hours of presentation. In fact, the Russia-Ukraine war is still ongoing. There are even more negative external factors like the war in the Middle East and tariff wars. But still, in spite of all these, we have performed. Mr. Speaker, we all recall how a certain driver's mate took control of the economy and recklessly drove it into a ditch so deep that what we inherited was nothing short of an economic crisis marked by deep debt distress and mounting debt service harms. A country with dispirited citizens. In the midst of all this, the public Mr. Speaker, we all recall how a certain driver's mate took control of the economy and recklessly drove it into a ditch so deep that what we inherited was nothing short of an economic crisis marked by deep debt distress and mounting debt service harms, a country with dispirited citizens, rising cost of living for an ordinary Ghanaian, collapsing confidence in our public finances, trust and faith in our leaders were at an all-time low. The fundamentals were not only weak but broken. The misery and suffering were palpable. And in the midst of all this, the public purse was subjected to massive abuse. And in the words of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, massive uncontrolled corruption was the order of the day. Mr. Speaker, let me re-emphasize that the last 205 days of our stewardship under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama have been marked by consistent and sustained macroeconomic stability. Mr. Speaker, these gains are not episodic. They are the fruits of a carefully crafted and boldly implemented sound economic policies anchored on discipline, vision, and a deep sense of responsibility to the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, this marks the end of an era of empty political sloganeering. We remain unwavering in our commitment to deliver stable prices and decent jobs for our fellow countrymen and women. The signs are clear. We are indeed building back better, brick by brick, step by step, and little by little. Mr. Speaker, let our friends on the other side who have just walked out take note that recovery is not by press conferences. It is not by walkouts. It is not found in recycled rhetoric or speculative pessimism. It is earned through policy, perseverance, and performance. I said, let our friends who just walked out realize that recovery is not by press conferences. It is not by consistently walking out of Parliament. It is not found in recycled rhetoric or speculative pessimism. It is earned through policy, perseverance, and performance. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is rising again. The foundation is being rebuilt. The confidence is returning, and the momentum of our recovery is becoming stronger. Mr. Speaker, our economic model is delivering results because it is being championed with vision and dedication by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. In paragraph 537 of the media budget statement, the Minister for Finance gave a tall list of payments we have made. Let me take few of them to demonstrate that this is a marked improvement over what we have seen in the past. DACF, From January to June 2024, DACF had been paid 2.3 billion. But from January to June this year, we have paid DACF 2.9 billion. Get Fund received only 1.2 billion between January and June 2024. But the same period, January and June to June 2025, we have paid Get Fund 4.6 billion Ghana cedis. NHIS was paid 1.8 billion between January and June 2024. Between January and June this year, we have paid NHIS 4.6 billion cedis. SNIT, transfer to SNIT for the first 6 months of 2024 was only 1 billion cedis. The first half of 2025, we have transferred 2.7 billion cedis to SNIT. In fact, on 24th, the day that the finance minister was presenting the mid-year budget review, we transferred another 300 million cedis to SNIT, making it 3 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, as at the end of December 2024, transfers to SNIT was in arrears of more than 2.2 billion cedis. But this year, no arrears have been accumulated. We are up to date, and we will continue to be up to date until the end of the year. Teachers and nursing training allowances have been paid in full as of June 2025, and from this month are receiving their allowances on monthly basis. As I speak now, the July 2025 allowances have been paid. Mr. Speaker, a good government always takes steps to protect the vulnerable in society. So President Mahama has increased leave and has paid promptly. He has increased school feeding and has paid promptly.